those dresses mean, because every time I look at them, I can see her wearing them.
There are quite a few clips around of Dusty wearing horrendous dresses. But for all the bad ones, there are some classic ones that are really worth seeing.
Dusty Springfield epitomised the sound and style of the 60s. Her hair, eyes and elaborate gowns made her an icon of the era.
The classic image of Dusty is the blonde bouffant and the eyes. That's the one that endures in people's minds. I think because it was so dramatic.
The music and the image just are inseparable. The music evokes the image and the image evokes the music.
Dusty's frocks were designed by Eric Plant at Fashion House Darnell of London, who sewed sequins for all the stars of the 60s.
She was definitely a challenge because, first of all, she had a lovely face. Then when you went down the body, like the boobs were fine, she wasn't very busty, tiny waist, but God cursed her when it came to the thighs. A line that she liked very much was what they call the Empire line, which was under the bust. Not here, I mean, cut away. So you knew she was tiny. And then the thing hung, and lots of the dresses had a lot of embroidery on them, which meant they were heavy, and that meant there's nothing clinging to the thighs.
Dusty had so many clothes in the wardrobe that often she would say to me, "Oh no, don't give it back to me, keep it till I want it." And I found, only recently, I'd got these dresses still packed and preserved in the back of my wardrobe. These are the dresses that I've still got of Dusty's. I'm sure a lot of the fans would have seen that particular dress on TV. This one is, oh dear, a particular favourite. When I look at that dress, I remember going to the studios, all the rushing around for the series, and I just remember her wearing it and thinking how gorgeous she looked.
Everyone forgets Dusty came up as a folk singer. And she wore big, sensible skirts, and she looked like someone at the hootenanny, or what do you call those things. And then when Dusty left the Springfields and went solo, her new look was sort of sophisticated, swinging London, contemporary. It was nothing to do with folk music. Dusty was becoming a different Dusty.
Look of love.
The most striking thing about the image was obviously the hair and the eyes. Those are the two things everyone remembers. There was this great big bouffant and the totally coal black eyes. She always said that she stole that from French models and did it very badly. I think the fact that Dusty was such an insecure person in herself perhaps gave her this need to build this person that she could kind of hide behind.
Someone who doesn't feel comfortable with themselves as a performer, or doesn't believe in their kind of physicality as a performer, puts on a mask and then they find it much easier to deal with. I've done that myself, to be honest. Why the Pet Shop Boys have often done theatrical shows, so you can kind of hide behind the costumes.
Dusty was definitely ahead of her contemporaries, not only in terms of music, but also charisma. While Cilla and Lula and Sandy are very popular and they did have some huge hits, Dusty's the one that sort of has the edge on that. It's down to her voice, this really husky vibrato, the sense of someone singing about a complex range of emotions, from being very, very fragile to very defiant, to being full of melancholy.
The emotion in her songs was echoed in her own life. Dusty started self-harming as a result of the pressures that fame brought her.
She said, "Eric, you've no idea," she said. "1 minute you're on a stage, there's perhaps 2,000 people in the audience, and those 2,000 have come to see you, hear you, because in a way they love you. And then you get home, and she wasn't married, and so on, she didn't have a relationship. She's in a flat alone. How can you come down that quick?
Please don't go away.
When she did this business with the wrist, and we had to put sleeves in, look, the average public don't know the problems you have. You see, Dusty had certain movements, you know, and all that. Well, when you put sleeves in a dress, we do this with my shirt. Now I want to, I can't, but you can't make it loose because it'll come up when she does that and won't go down again. She can't start tucking it in front of the audience. So of course, you had to warn her, warn her that don't, in this dress, don't do too much of that. Go there, don't go there, don't go, but how can you?
I think Dusty always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with the persona she created. There's this wonderful story of when she was doing Dusty in Memphis, and Tom Dowd, one of the producers, said that, you know, this little old studio in Memphis, and she sort of gingerly walked in on high heels with all her hair and her gown just to do a studio session.
The dresses to travel with were a nightmare because I always had to have them packed in plastic bags in case they fell on the floor. Always had to find somewhere we could hang them, and then when we got the other end, I'll show you. This was me. All 5'2" of me, the same size as Dusty, with at least half a dozen dresses going down the road like that. It makes me, I don't know, holding these makes me feel I've got part of her here. And I can almost touch her.
I remember her often saying to me how much easier it is for somebody like Tom Jones. He just turns up and puts on a suit. If she had walked out in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt or whatever, I think she thought people would be horrified. She went through some changes in the early 80s where she got influenced by a punk look, and her hair was spiky and even pink on occasion, and it wasn't always successful.
Sometimes I think she looks good, sometimes I think she looks awful, you know. Well, Dusty's enduring image is a woman in a long floaty dress with a lot of black eye makeup on, moving her hands like that.
I think there's a combination of reasons as to why Dusty is now an icon. It's that combination of her voice plus her image that's so powerful and that really stays in people's minds.
Bye-bye. I hope I see you soon. Bye.